So first of all, let's look at what the fear is. So the fear is a projection of what could happen in the future. So when you're in fear, you are not present. So you're not in the present moment. You're actually projecting into the future. And so the fear comes from not being present. So the most important thing to do when you feel gripped by fear in any given moment is to become completely present. Bring yourself into that moment, focus on your breath, focus on your surrounding, and settle the mind so that you're not thinking at all. So one of the points that you've made is that there are few thoughts that can make you feel any better. So the thoughts aren't powerful enough. It's going to be much greater than the thought, and that will be presence. Because what happens when you become very present is you shift out of the mind and into the soul. So you can go to that place which is bigger than the mind and bigger than the thoughts. So become very, very present. That's the first thing that you want to do. And then what you want to do is look at the core belief that is creating the fear. So when, for example, you're afraid that you're going to lose all your money, let's say, for example, that fear comes from a core belief in lack, which most of the human race have. They have that core belief that there is lack, that there is not enough, and there's not enough for everyone, which is why a very small number of people in this world have over 80% of all of the wealth, because the people who have it hold on to it, and the people who don't have it think that they'll never have it. But there is an abundance. So you want to work strongly on your core beliefs and have absolute faith in abundance. Abundance in money, abundance in all of your requirements, food, a roof over your head, health, relationships, all of those things, that faith in abundance. And one of the ways that you can do that is to become very, very grateful for all of the things that right in this moment you do have. So it's shifting from thinking into feeling. But the first step is to become very, very present, because when you become very present and you say, okay, in this moment, I'm sitting on a chair, I'm breathing, I've got clothes on, I'm listening to a webinar, or I'm typing on my computer, there is no immediate threat. There's no tiger in the room, so there's no immediate threat. But the paralysis from fear actually comes from that fear of a future threat, which isn't here. It's not here in the present. All you've got is this moment. So the more you practice this, particularly when you start to feel the fear, the more you'll be able to subside that fear, because you go, yeah, actually nothing can happen to me right now. Because of course the problem with fear is that it's intensely powerful, because it's such a strong emotion, and it can attract the thing that you fear. So it's a really good question to ask, because it's not how you want to be. You don't want to be in that space. And I'll share with you a story about someone where it impacted their health so significantly. But because they are very aware, they were able to do something about it very quickly. So this guy is in a situation where his sister-in-law is a very negative person, and he has done a lot of work on himself. And so he wants to maintain the relationship with his sister-in-law, because, it's his brother's wife, and he wants to just accept who she is and be able to maintain that relationship. So he continues to, have them into their house and just breathe through her negativity. But on this particular example, on this particular day, she had had a few drinks, which was making her worse. So negative person plus alcohol was really taking it to a whole new level. And he was trying to feed his 2-year-old, and what she'd done is filled up his young children with sugar before dinner. And when she was about to do it, he actually said to her, look, I understand that you want to give your nephews some treats, but can you wait till after dinner? I'd really like them to eat their dinner before they have the sweets. Anyway, she did it anyway, and then she started to really sort of tease him and say, that's to get you back from when you did it to our kids when they were little 10 years ago, sort of really, really pushing him. Anyway, he could feel how anxious he was getting. He was getting really, really anxious, and he was feeling really, really disturbed. And he didn't express any of it. He kept it all pushed down, but he was feeling very, very disturbed by it all. Anyway, by the time they left, his heart was pounding really, really fast. He was actually in atrial fibrillation, and he's young, he's my age. And he said to his wife, "Feel my heart, it feels really strange." So they went to emergency, and the doctor said, "You're in atrial fibrillation, and it can cause a clot. It can cause a clot to your brain. So you just need to be really, really careful and, calm down." Anyway, a few days later, exactly that happened. All of a sudden, he was totally disoriented. He didn't know where he was, and he didn't know what anything meant. And he could look at his diary, and he could see that it was busy, but he didn't understand any of it. So he completely, had lost it. And he went to emergency, and they were doing the ECGs, and they were really, really concerned. And then all of a sudden he realised what it was, and so he sent love to his sister-in-law and felt deep compassion for her. And they came back and did the ECG, and they said, "We can't explain it, but everything's gone back to normal." So the reason I share that story is because fear can actually have this really devastating effect on your health. So the fact that you want to change it is really, really good. And it's just a matter of being able to, first of all, become very, very present, but then really challenge your core beliefs. Because if you have absolute faith that everything's going to be okay, then there is nothing to fear. But when you're in the middle of it, it's about becoming present, getting back into this absolute instant where there's no threat in the moment that you're in.